conversation is about spotlights on Kenyan events, navigating marketing, PR, and artist relevance. And I'm not alone. I'm joined by not one, not two, but three people who will tell us who they are, tell us why they're significant to this conversation. What have they done? Let's start with them.
Hey, Ati, what have we done?
What have you guys done?
Okay, Sando Bartonjo. My gosh, I don't know how to start with what we've done or what I've done. Do you understand what I mean? I'm like, I could be here for a very long time. Just pioneered some of the dopest events that happened in Nairobi, and then dealt with artists from across the continent and beyond in terms of artist handling and quote unquote management, and then just mild consultancy when it comes to which artists people want to bring, just out of, hey, ukosho unataka kwenda your direction, relax first maybe. Yeah.
Great to on the show.
Shukran, darling.
We are looking forward to a lot of insights from you.
Yeah.
The only gentleman on set.
Hi guys, Frankie is my name, Frankie Theuri. Many know me as Frankie the Brand. Event producer, curator, organizer. So happy to be here.
And last but not least,
yes, my name is Anyiko Owoko, PR guru, event lover, and also curator for some type of events. I think that's what we're going to be discussing today. Events come in different forms. So I curate top events. Over and above that, I'm also a journalist, and I love arts and culture. So anything to do with events, arts, culture, I'm inside there. And if we're talking about events, promo, marketing is key. We do a lot of that. I have a PR agency. We work with various artists promoting events in this country and other countries around Africa. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for honoring the invite. So mmesikia hawa watu ni wataalamu wa hii conversation ya event. So let me just ask you guys briefly, what events are happening right now? Like, what's happening? What's December?
Right now.
We start.
Hey.
I mean, go to Soulfest.
Yeah.
Number one.
Okay.
Number
uno, mainest. The Soulfest, obviously we know there's Sean Paul.
Yes.
Yeah, Sean Paul's coming.
December 1st.
Burna Boy.
Burna Boy is coming.
Burna Boy is gonna be.
Shinsia.
Shinsia. Oh yeah. Oh yes, I forgot about Shinsia.
Diamond.
Yes, Diamond.
is also coming.
Yeah, there's Diamond. Kenya, were those guys? Were those guys?
In terms of like local events, there are also so many happening.
So many.
Mami has her comedy show
coming up
in December.
Crazy Kenya with Happy Country.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's also, what's their name? This other couple.
Terrence.
Yes, at the Shamba.
Yeah, right. They've also got
show
nice.
At the Shamba.
Nice.
Then there's also another show, Nomadic Arts Festival. Turkana artists are coming from Turkana to here.
Right.
Nice.
December 6th. So back to back.
It's just back to back. We're in that season. Hey, listen, January you just be chilling.
Just negotiate with your landlord. December lipia tu bafu. Ni kuoga na kutoka. Hakuna kukaa. Kuoga tu na kutoka. Just pay for the nyumba ni ya kuweka tu vitu.
Right, so ladies and gentlemen, this conversation is very important because, like we said, there's a lot of events happening, there's a lot of artists coming, there's a lot of local events as well. However, kuna kitu bado there's something that we still want to the quality of events, the quality of experience,
Yes.
the overall impact of these events. Yeah.
Right.
As guys, just did an event ourselves, the Pulse Influencer Award.
Right.
And it was not easy. Hey, you guys,
you're still trying to gather yourself.
We had to rest for a week, like the whole team, because it was just like
chaos. It's total chaos.
From the planning to the pushing to the actual day of
executing.
The event.
Yeah.
It was mine.
Yeah.
So allow me to ask you.
Now imagine us guys who do three events in a weekend.
Yeah.
Nyinyi mlifanya moja mnaenda. Na sisi wa 3 days in a weekend.
I mean, how do you do it?
How do you do it?
No, it's a tumultuous experience.
Yeah.
So
it is.
Very briefly, could you just tell us what a good event looks like?
Let Frankie start first.
For me, what a good event looks like is, number one, security was good. There was no complaints of any incidents or anything. The clients were happy. or rather the attendees had a good time, and whoever you brought in gave a proper show. Msanii alifika, akusumbua,
miss flight.
Yeah.
I think a good event also has a good experience.
Yes.
Or a worthy experience. I don't know what good is. Good is relative. For some person it will be good, another one great, but an experience that is memorable in a good way. And also inclusivity is very important. Like, thinking of access, that's also important. I was thinking of access like for people who are using wheelchairs or people who are unable to like reach a certain place because of the transport. Yeah.
No, 100%. But that, just to add on to that with what she said, especially why I said I wanted Frankie to go first, because you see, what we also sometimes we forget with a market like Kenya is if you're not catering to the women first, the likelihood of in terms of what is crucial for them to have a good time, which is obviously security, then she said inclusivity, access. And safety. Because you can have 1,000 bouncers, but if I'm not feeling safe as a female in that space,
there's nothing.
I'm not going to have a good experience. And the minute I'm with my boyfriend or my brother or whatever, and I say, nah, I'm scared to go to the bathroom because the way, this person is looking at me, automatically that's a bad experience for the both of us. Because now every time, you know what I mean? So we tend to forget that element. And then sometimes you find promoters tend to prioritize the brands that have ideally come on board as sponsors before the attendees. So you're so focused on the bosses of so-and-so must be in VIP, their cars. You're even the one who's running to make sure their cars have entered. I don't know what. But the attendees, the people who've actually bought the tickets and are supporting your event, you've forgotten to cater to them in almost the same capacity. And then you're wondering why this one crowd had an amazing time. But you can online, there's 50 people saying, no, this happened to me. And you're like, what? Yeah.
All right, so let's just talk about what has been happening in the country. Just, before we are talking in December, there's been a couple of events that have happened in the year 2024.
Right.
Some have been really, really good. Mudhoni has been killing it. But this is public knowledge.
Right.
But there's been events that really were not successful in the sense that people did not have a good experience. Probably the same thing security-wise. What do you think goes wrong? Is it the planning? Is it the marketing? Is it the PR? Is it guys on ground? What usually goes wrong? I think that's how we can, Frankie.
Yeah.
I think for events, you might have every single thing down to the last T. But then again, on the day of, things go haywire. So sometimes it's just, sometimes I think it's just how you handle situations when they arise. That's what matters.
Would you say is it like probability thing?
Not per se.
Do you have some things that you can be in control of?
Yes, there's things you can't be in control of. Things you can't be in control of. Because now we've realized there's a wave of, especially with the young guys, they know they don't have the money to buy the tickets. So what are they doing? They'll come, hang around the entrance, they form a crowd, and then they start pushing
gates and
So that's a constant problem.
Yeah. They did that at Walkertown. They did that at Davido. So it's a trend, and I've seen the events coming. Yeah, they did that.
They tried to do that.
They tried to do that. Yeah.
The entrance is quite
so now,
cool,
yeah.
But then security really managed.
Yeah. So now it's just for you to act, or rather catch it before it happens, and tell security, this is what's been happening. This is a trend that's been happening. How do we get ahead of it? So I think once you've done an event and you see there's a gap somewhere, you have to get ahead of the problem.
So let's talk about event marketing, because ideally today's conversation is about marketing, PR, and artist relevance. So before we get into that, let's talk about marketing. What have been the marketing mechanisms, marketing strategies that you guys have used in the past that have really worked out for you? And some people could follow.
I don't know if these apply anymore, because if I think back of like the first barbecue live, that was almost maybe 12 years ago, maybe 10. And so even at that time, it wasn't like social media was like a thing. You know what I mean? And so what we wound up having to do was that on ground, because you're on ground. So flyers that we were taking to bars. So within like 3 months prior to the edition, we were literally going to different bars every weekend and giving flyers to folks, to be like, we've got this thing coming up. And it was actually, with the first edition, we had Heart the Band. And at the time, nobody even knew Heart the Band or whatever it is, but it's because we were trying to create this experience where artists were performing with live music, like not playback. We didn't want none of that. And so we had to do that on-ground kind of work. Then even now, when we locked in our first sponsor, that was Famous Grouse at the time, we made them have to do, when you go to the bars and you've got that thing that's on the table with like a brand. So we had to do our artwork on those in different bars and plug them in that way. A lot of like mass texts. We have like a ridiculous database. So you just get texts all the time of like, whatever edition coming up. It was that on ground, sort of like grassroots kind of work at the time. Obviously now, and I don't know whether this is easier or worse with social media, because as great and powerful as social media is in terms of reaching the masses, it doesn't always say that those numbers are going to come.
True.
And we see it even just with influencers, when people are getting influencers to market their different events. Just because somebody has 50,000 influencers does not mean they're influential. They have 50,000 followers, but for them to even get 10% of their followers to come to your event is slim to none.
Right.
Do you get? They'll come with their 2-3 pals, catch vibes, and go home.
100%.
But you're never going to see a comment saying, I came because of so and so. Most likely not. No, but I'm just saying, because that's a lot of one of the tools that people are using now for marketing of events. You know what I mean? But are they really influential? You get me. Half the time, from what I've seen, the artists are more.
That's true. We've seen it. There's someone with 5,000 followers who has more influence than someone with 100,000 followers.
We'll get, that 5,000 guy will send you tickets.
Right now, unfortunately, the people run to, let's use influencers. They'll bring us the numbers. Are they though? It's the same thing. It's the same thing with the American election. On social media, we knew Kamala has won. What
ground?
Things were different. So it's always this. Even with events, you might think on social media you have the hypest event. You're like,
because it's everywhere, everyone
is talking about it. But if it's not translating to ticket sales, there's nothing you're doing.
There's really not much you're doing.
Yeah. But what has worked for you? What marketing strategies have you used that have worked?
Shout out to Stefu. She's our marketing manager. I'm not the best in marketing. She's the one who makes the magic happen for us.
Right.
So far, to where we've gotten to, it's her.
I want to say that in terms of PR and marketing, you really need to look at it 360. And I think this is not just an issue about events, but generally in the entertainment industry. A lot of focus has shifted to social media, TikTokers, influencers. So a lot of people tend to feel like, I don't need that much marketing on PR anymore because I'm paying influencers or whatever. And I think that's where you're getting to a slippery slope, especially if you have these influencers who will not deliver for you, or who are busy influencing for other things as well. So I think for me, traditional PR always will play a role.
100%.
Reaching out to mainstream media, reaching out to broadcast media. There's like various media. Like you need your event to be printed on the newspaper as on the listings. Or if it's the event, if it's the weekend of the event, it needs to be published like this is happening this weekend. However you need to do it, get it done. If you have to pay for PR, if you have to pay for the space, just get it done. Like if Pulse Live is writing about articles like these are the events to look out for, you need to be in that top 10 list or the top 20 list. Because if you're not in there, then you definitely miss out. I've seen this work very well when you do broadcast interviews, like when you go on TV or radio, and you start saying, I have this gig, buy tickets on this platform. Every time we do that, we see people buying tickets at that time, like 20 tickets, 30 tickets. And why? This is because not each one of the people coming to your concert are on social media. Like right now, all these Gen Zs, they're not on Instagram, they're not on Twitter, they're on TikTok. So you are here paying Instagram
sponsored ads
and Twitter,
but you're missing out on the TikTokers. So then you're paying the TikTokers, you're missing out on the Instagrammers. You're paying,
you have to find a balance.
Then you have to find a balance. Even there are a big audience on Facebook because it doesn't take too much
100%
data, and
100%
older people are on Facebook more than the younger generation. What about them? So it's good, like when you're on radio or on TV, maybe they're heading somewhere, maybe they're in a matatu, maybe someone is driving and they hear something, they're like, oh, top of my mind, let me go to this platform and buy tickets. But a lot of people are not camping on social media. I think there's a perception that what is on social media is what's carrying the entire country.
Yeah.
But it's usually a very small demographic. It's important because it shows the pulse of the culture. Pun intended. So what you did there? I finished my point, but yeah.
And then also like with what she's saying, if you think about it right now, when you hear of any news, like if you get like a WhatsApp link or you're told like in a WhatsApp group, oh, this and this has happened, what's your go-to thing? You're not going to go and find an influencer to see if they've posted it. Your go-to thing is your traditional media pages. You'll go to Citizen. Yeah. That's your automatic response. You're not going to buy the paper, but your instinct is as if they've said it, then it's happening or then it's true.
Yeah.
So if already your mindset as the event goers is there, why would you then limit your marketing to not include that?
Yeah.
And then also in my experience, if you're doing, especially if you're having artists, have them also do a PR tour. Let them be the ones to go and do the interviews, blah blah. Even with the international artists, if you can get them here 2 to 3 days before, as they're doing the different places, straight up, Siju 10/10, when the homeboys in the morning, blah blah. Once they do those laps, they come and meet Mudoni here randomly under the tree. Once they come and do that and they say on Saturday, this is the event we're doing, our tickets are going to be here.
Yeah.
In my experience, it has worked.
It works.
It has been so powerful in getting tickets sales done.
Because the moment people see the artist is in the country
and there's a relationship,
and he or she are friendly and they're engaging, they're doing interviews, they're doing all these things.
Yes, and they take it personally. They're like, I win him to it.
Yeah, that's why it works. That's why even when the video came and how he was so bubbly and everything, that's why it was as successful as it was. Ira Star, same thing. How she was interacting with the TikTokers and everything. Once people see there's that element of humanness with them, they relate with them a bit more.
So much better, yeah.
Let's talk about the TE, the target audience, so let's say, for instance, there's a reggae event, there's a blues event, there's
R&B event.
I mean, all this
Which is the cruise
Afro
now.
house
Every weekend R&B.
who do different genres of music. How do you tie in the artist to the TA? How do you communicate to the TA differently based on who you bring into the country, right? So I know you said about the interview thing, but recently we had Glen Washington concert happening in Nakuru. With public information, I had to send him Gaya.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. There was a public information. It was an event that happened in Arts. And Glen Washington was the headliner. However, from what we saw on TikTok, what we saw on the social, it was not a well turned out. People didn't come through. What would you say transpired in your thoughts from your experience?
I mean, for me, first of all, I was in shock that he was even in Kenya because I didn't see that anywhere. So already I was like, this is like the legend, like one of the legends. You know what I mean? And we know how big reggae culture is in Kenya. It is ridiculously huge. I think there was a time, I think even right now, we are maybe the second or the third biggest consumers of reggae globally outside of Jamaica and the Caribbeans. So that says a lot. So you bring somebody like Glen Washington and it's by fluke. Because I think even the first video I saw of him physically being here, he was in a church. I don't know whether it was Pastor Nganga or who. He had gone to one of those famous pastor things and he just sang a song and I was like, wait, what's happening? I even thought it was like an AI thing because I was like, this can't be real, you know. And people always forget that just because you've gotten a big name artist on your lineup,
you still have to do
it does not mean automatically that people are going to come. If Chris Brown himself has to start his marketing for a show
in December,
for December, he has started it in June. On his own, like he's the one who's telling you guys go and buy tickets. Sincerely speaking, my guy, you thought just because you put this person in your poster automatically 12,000 people are going to show up? Impossible. You have to do the work. You have to do the work.
Yeah, sorry to cut you short.
No, but yes.
Very few artists have that power of, okay, we're bringing so and so, tickets will fly. Very few.
Sold out.
Very few.
You have to
very few.
And it's interesting we're having this conversation today because yesterday I was watching Tiwa's live. It wasn't live yesterday, but something she did live and
right.
on her page.
Yeah.
Let me check this out. And she was just talking about how she has this new song and she was like, I have to push it and I'm coming to Lagos this weekend
Yes.
to push the song. And she was like, artists, you cannot thrive without pushing your things. I'm an old person in the industry, but
still
I'm doing it as if I'm fresh, I'm new.
Yes.
So if Tiwa is pushing her gig like that, who are you not to be pushing your gig? So I think it's a two-way traffic. The artists need to do it, the PR needs to do it, the event managers need to do it, but also there's also the timing element.
Right.
You can't start pushing an event like, I don't know, 3 days to the event. I mean,
It
you
doesn't
not
make
get the
sense.
same output you would have gotten if you started 2
Earlier.
days or 3 days.
Right.
And that's why you're talking about Chris Paul saying to
Yeah.
push his event months before. And when I travel, or when you travel, whoever travels, especially to Europe, I've never been to America, but I see posters of summer, next summer.
It's really out here.
So many. So you can already see like how that industry is working. People are planning for next year now. While here, someone is reaching out to me
the day before.
So and so is arriving.
I have an event tomorrow. Can you guys come help us? It's giving me so much anxiety myself because when I'm starting to call you, like, I need you to come to our gig tomorrow. You guys already have planned your whole week.
I'm like, Anyiko, really?
Yeah, Anyiko.
We're busy.
Because we plan your week like on Monday. So it's like boils down to everything to the very end. So I believe probably even the Glen Washington gig, I don't know, but I believe if the PR was done well, they would have had a better
turnout.
I agree. Yes.
At least
I agree.
some people would have even come from Nairobi to say,
it's Glen Washington, we are going to Knox.
This is the plus. Yeah.
It's actually embarrassing. I find it so embarrassing when these things happen the way they happen. Even recently, we've had events going really bad in Nairobi.
Right.
You know, all these events, we all know them. It's very embarrassing. It's very embarrassing. I'm like, you are a big company. These are big artists. It's not the first time it's raining in this country. Like, we can't have some of these excuses.
Right.
You know, so we can't
That
miss
rain
out
one.
on marketing. We can't blame the rain. We shouldn't be doing that anymore in such an industry. Like, we are a beacon. People look at us in Kenya like, yo, this country. But we're starting to embarrass our own selves. We have professionals, Kina Frankie. So I think also people who are producing these events, let them pick professionals. And I think when certain things happen, they want to blame it on the rain, blame it on whatever. It's just people not doing their job right.
100%.
But we do have professionals in Kenya. We have the best sound engineers, event managers, PR people. We can hold an international concert here. And we have done that before. Sean Paul performed here like 15 years ago. It was the best gig of my life. I remember because I went to see him when I was like in high school. Imagine 15 years. Now he's coming again. Why is he coming again? Because he had such a dope gig then. But when an international artist comes in, you mess up the events the way
it's
some
problematic.
Events have been messed up. When they go around, go back to Africa,
they go back
like,
with the
Africa
bad.
is cool, but don't go to Kenya. Maybe South Africa, Usiende Kenya. You know, so people need to take events seriously. Professionals or people working in the industry need to be professionals because when they mess up something, it has a ripple effect on
everybody else.
Yeah.
You know,
who are doing it right.
Reaching out to an artist saying, "Ati, we want to book you for Kenya," they'll be like, nah.
Tumesikia huko kwenyu.
It messes the whole industry, the whole economy, our whole business. It reflects bad on us, you know. Some of these people, they just do the things and say, okay, we'll refund the tickets, but it's not just
refunding of tickets.
It's spoiling the name of our entire industry, you know, and try and making people feel like we are not capable. Because even now we're reading an article in the newspaper talking about how Kenyan events are bad and a VIP ticket will get you nothing. That has happened for some events, but I want to clarify, not all.
All events,
we
100%.
have properly
executed events.
Where you pay a VIP and you're like,
this was worth it,
And I think we need to have more of these conversations so that people don't get it twisted. Like, I don't need to go to an event anymore because it won't be worth it. And then for those who are hosting events, then they work harder to provide safety, a better experience, you know, a good access and all these things that we require. We can do it.
Of course.
We have done it before.
And just how important is research?
Extremely important. Extremely important. I think that's number one in events. Research is everything. So basically, research boils down to what's your target audience and what are you trying to execute. So let's say, for example, your target audience is Gen Zs. who's popular on TikTok, or rather which artists are booming on TikTok. That's their target audience. So you try and see who you can get from that side. If you come to millennials, who are their artists? You work the same way she said, you work backwards. Which artist do they like? Okay, how can I get this artist? Or rather, how would I appeal to them? That's why you see there's a huge resurgence of R&B events right now, because millennials love R&B. So that's
right. What's happening with this R&B? Because everybody is pulling an R&B.
So first of all, let me just clarify. No. So let me just clarify. We brought Strictly Soul, which is a R&B event from SA. Shout out to Akio and Anita. They then very happily, because we're branching out to Africa. This is before all these other ones began, eh? And so the superstar that is Pfizer, R&B Faye, they were like, let's plug in with you. She linked me in there. So we partnered to do this Strictly Soul. The first edition was in April this year. And literally, we did the first one, epic success. Like we had sold out 3 weeks even before the event had happened. And it's also because the brand is already trusted. From I said, there's already a lot of following from Kenyans on that page, begging them, please come to Kenya, please come. So they already knew this is definitely a market they have to come to. We sold out 3 weeks before the event. Like sold out, like we're not selling any more tickets. So sorry guys, wait for the next dates. Wait for the next dates. And that's another thing. Like we're very adamant on that. Like once we know we've reached the capacity,
that's
it.
Wait out for the next, because that craziness of just because you want to make extra money, open the doors. Now people start having a bad experience because now you're all squashed. You can't, there's no space. Service is terrible because now the numbers are not making sense to the staff that we're told them. You know what I mean? And those kind of things now, they have a ripple effect, because some people like, I had such a bad time at that show. It took an hour for me to get my drink. So we're very adamant on that. The minute Strictly Soul happened, the first one, it was literally like, I think 2 weeks later, I just started saying, poop, 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 this event, everyone is doing R&B all of a sudden. And it's become the wave. And I think why it's as successful as it is, that even now other international R&B events are coming to Kenya, is because, and I don't know how else to explain, but it's like they're clean events. Because one, your target audience, there's nothing rowdy or heckle or like any level of like heckling. We're very consistent with what you're going to come and experience in terms of music. So there'll be no one point you'll be listening to and no like made to like dance hall. Like there'll be no point that will be playing on the night. You know what I mean? Because here we've got themed nights, and then randomly at 1 a.m. everything goes south and we're back to factory settings. You know what I mean? So we're very consistent with that. And that's I think what has contributed that, because everyone who's experienced anything with an R&B event so far, it has just been an amazing experience. Music-wise, service-wise, safety-wise. You know, you go home, like, what you wanted is exactly what you got on ground. Nothing switched up, nothing changed. That's why it's a winning formula right now.
And is it correct to say that it's also about the audience?
Right.
The audience also have a purchasing power.
But yes, of course. Of course. 100%.
How would you describe the audience? Yeah.
But for Strictly Soul, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. It's not limited to the purchasing power, because majority, first of all, 75% of our audience is female, and it's female between age 19 to 24. So it's not even us waze. You know, us were just there as adults, because we're like, where me, I want to go somewhere where I'm not being shouted at on the mic with a crazy hype man and all that. You know, I don't know what you're just like. Wait, hold up. So that's why. So that's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily that. No, see,
you're making fun.
But they're just having a good time. Do you understand? Like, our audience is not even limited to like the millennials older. But it's a much younger crowd.
You also have to do something with the setup, right?
Yes.
Because you don't require that kind of. It's the experience. It's not like a big stage or whatever.
And the way you said inclusivity earlier, that's was like very true, because we've had requests. We had requests even for our last edition. Here, my friends in a wheelchair, blah, blah. And so we accommodated and created space specifically so that they could go to a ramp to be able to come and experience the night as people with like or persons of disability. And I think those kind of things really go a long way. Girls can come to our event dressed however you want. There's no any one point you'll ever feel like, oh my God, I'm being like overly sexualized, or I'm feeling like I'm going to be touched inappropriately. Those are things we're very adamant on ensuring don't happen, so that you come, have a great time, go home. You know what I mean? So that you can come back again. were very, very big on those kind of things. And then just also, you've got to remember R&B, we confuse R&B with old school in this country sometimes. R&B and old school are two different things. Do you understand? And people think so because it's an R&B event, it's going to just, be Whitney Houston and Billy Ocean. And I'm like, no, guys, that's why you're old school. Because R&B, we've got the market like Akina Caesar, Summer Walker, Bryce and Taylor. That's all R&B, and it's new and current R&B. That's why even our TA can be younger. Yeah.
I love that you talked about those artists, and it brings me to the conversation of now the artist. So you have an event, the event is titled such and such. How do you choose the artists that will be performing at that particular event?
Where?
Frankie?
That's a hard one, because sometimes, so for me, how we narrow down on the artists we want to select is number one, who hasn't been here
100%.
Number two, what is the crowd saying, or rather, what's the word on the street? Hey, we haven't had so and so in a while. And then number three, who's available and does it make financial sense to bring them? Because you might want to bring Burna Boy, for example, but when you look at the numbers,
what it will
be
cost.
Eating cabbage for the rest of the year. it doesn't make sense. Yeah, so sometimes you have to look at, yes, you want to bring in a good artist,
but it's the math.
But it's the mathing. Yeah, and unfortunately right now, artists have become crazy expensive. It's not like back in the day, or rather a few years back. It all started after COVID. I don't know what happened, but everyone's rate card just changed drastically. So the figures we look at nowadays are extremely wild.
They're trying to make what they did during those 2 years. 2 years.
Which boils down to why sometimes ticket prices are very, very expensive, because you're looking at the amount you've spent. You try to make it. So how ticket pricing is done is basically when you do your entire budget, everything under one roof. How many? Which number of tickets will make you get your money back, or which number of tickets will make you feel like you've at least broken even, where you feel like you're safe, you won't chomeka. Yeah. So that's why sometimes you see some ticket prices are high, some are low, some are fair. Yeah.
What do you think?
But also, like, another thing that's contributed negatively, in my opinion, in terms of artists and their rate cards now, is because we've obviously gone into the digital space. So artists are basing their popularity based on streams. And so somebody will come and tell you, and I mean, I'll give you an example. There's a very popular Nigerian artist who had released, I think, 2 songs. But because of the popularity of what the songs were, this guy, in a month, I think he was looking at about almost, I think it was like 8 million streams or something. So by the time he was being approached to do a show in Kenya, his rate card, I was like, how are you giving me the same rate card as Wizkid? With somebody with that much of a catalog and does a live show, you're telling me you're coming to do playback with your DJ. Right now in this market, we only know 2 songs, and that's what's made you popular. And this is a club. It's not even a concert. It's a club gig. But your rate card is what you're giving me is this. And the attitude was, if I'm in my house just within 2 weeks, I'll have made that money just by my streams. So if you can't pay me that, then peace. Easily. And so that's what I'm saying. It's a good thing, because now it's been like, you don't necessarily have to do shows because money is coming in. But at the same time, now it's hurting on the other side, because you look at the artists that you want to bring, and what they're telling you, you're like, nah, I might as well just bring so and so, because what is the value on my end? So you'll get on stage, you'll do 2 songs that everyone knows, then 6 that other people that nobody knows in this market leave the stage. What was the point of that investment? Yeah.
Allow me to ask you, Anyiko, when it comes to, so for instance, I'm an artist, I've been booked for such and such event. What do me and my artist manager or my team need to look up in that particular event?
In the particular event, or at the point of signing off that you perform at this event, I think it's important to find out who is the event promoter, who is the event producer, what kind of PR and marketing is being done for the event. I think it's not just enough to be paid your worth to come to an event. It's just really sad. Like if you're paid your worth, then you come and there's like 10 people. Because at the end of the day, I think even for the artists, I think for most of them, this is what they love to do, it's their livelihood. You want to perform to crowds. So you don't want to be paid and be sleeping or be paid and perform to two people. So I think it's important for an artist to also demand those things, like show me your PR plan, show me your marketing plan, which other artists are performing there, and then just look around and see like what's the buzz about it, especially if you're being brought on board onto something that was already being marketed or an asset that is already pre-existing, like something like Soulfest. They can easily tell you this is what we did last year, whatever. If it's a new event, then maybe you have more questions, but it's important to look at that. And then I also wanted to say something about the question you had asked previously, like how do you pick which artists for an event? I think it also depends on what type of event. Like for some smaller local events that I've been working on or that I've worked on, it also depends on why you're hosting that event. So for instance, I was curating events for Goethe Institute. This is a cultural institute and it's not a commercial gig or center. People are coming to the gigs for free. So the artists also not being paid ideally their normal rate card. It's just like an amount that is fit, but not really a commercial rate. So in that sense, for me as a curator, I'm gonna be looking for the artists who I feel also needs that opportunity. Because if you're gonna try to sign up an artist who's going to be paid their work that weekend and then they can't be paid half that amount, why would they come? So for me, I was also looking for the artists who need that opportunity, and especially the really dope artists who you find haven't broken into mainstream media or are not performing at mainstream stages. So when I was curating the Jump for Gote, I was hosting a lot of those kind of artists like Modaka, Coastal Juan, Groovy Joe. These are artists who are really dope, but at the point at which they were performing at those smaller gigs, I felt like they needed them as a stepping stone. So I think it's important, like even if you're having a major event, is to also think of the curation process. Like who are my headliners? Who are the people opening? Who are the DJs? Who are the people who need the opportunity and at what point? And in different departments, it's not just the artists who are performing, but like you said, having 2 events in one weekend, you need so many hands on deck. You need watu wa mkono, watu wa kukimbia, watu wa, so
don't drive from one to the next to the next to the next.
So there's a lot to look out in events, a lot of moving parts.
Allow me to ask you, Sandra.
Right.
What are the responsibilities that you owe to an artist as an event promoter, as an event organizer? What are your duties and responsibilities?
Okay, for me, and that was literally ideally my role even for even all the events I manage right now, majority of the time. As somebody who's doing the artist handling part of it,
the liaison,
outside of getting, you can send all the contracts, and we all know, unfortunately, in this country and a lot of African countries, you can have a contract for sure, but the way people breach contracts and just don't care is amazing. Wild. It is actually amazing, and literally like no care in the world on the planet. So for me, some of the time I'm like, contracts aren't really a thing. So I always insist on becoming very close or in good relations with the management or the artists themselves directly, because one, it automatically eliminates the drama that will unfold once the rest of the promoter, whatever it is who hired the artist, has either failed to do their bit. It helps you be able to manage those situations on ground. Then due diligence, because in the instance where if it's my own event, that's different, because now you're doing it internally and there's experience. And even by the time the artist is asking what airline am I flying on, I can send you even the number of the travel agent confidently, and they can tell you, here it is, blah blah blah. Because there's artists who will ask you that. They'll ask you which is the hotel I'm staying in. Then they will call the hotel without you knowing. I'm like, hi, is there a booking for this name and this name and this name? They do their own duty. For the ones who don't, they'll obviously call you to be like, confirm that this is done. And
where's the confirmation?
And you and I had a very rough experience where there's an artist that came to this country, one of the biggest ones, and got on ground, and everything that they'd been told had been locked in, had not. And I was sitting in the comfort of my home and I'm being called, you need to come and help us out, please. You need to get us a car. You need to get us somewhere to stay. And I was like, sorry, what's happening? And it made me so sad because it made me sad and happy at the same time because I'd worked with them before. Their point of contact was called Sandra. But it made me sad that why would you fly in any artist and you lied about where they're going to stay? They get to the hotel and they're being told, nothing. Yeah, we don't have that booking. However, the rate card for a room per night is X amount. So you can pay if you want to pay. Do you know, oh, these are the cars we wanted. And then the cars they've gotten to the airport. Those are not the cars that have showed up. Because these guys send their things well in advance and it's in the contract. And you see, because they're coming to our country, there's only so much they can do. Yeah, you know what I mean? In terms of legally. You know what I mean? And so even that fear of, will I even be able to leave? We've seen instances where artists have gone to the airport and the return flight isn't there. How many times have we seen that happen? Do you get now they're stuck in the airport trying to figure out how am I going to pay for a flight now? Why would you do that to an artist that has come and done their job as per your request? You understand? And so it has to be a mutual due diligence process. So I'm doing my end, but even them in terms of artist management or artists, they've got to do their own due diligence. You can't just wake up in the morning and decide because you've paid Mina Kuja, unless this is somebody you trust, like Anyiko said, you know. So if there's a history with that event and you can see the, what's the word, almost like the CV of that event organizer. Awesome, because at least you know there's a trusted brand, even on ground. In the likelihood that it's a new event, please, you have to do your due diligence. And if you're being hired, even in terms of being the PR guy, being the person, you know, stage management or artist management, you on your end as well, you've got to do your due diligence. As the local, you have to. Because it's at the end of the day, it's your reputation you're protecting. Because if the artist gets here and things have gone south, they're going to just write there, Anyiko failed, Sandra failed, Frankie failed, even though it was not our fault. Yeah.
And also, just to add on to what you said is, when you're building those relationships with the managers or the artist handlers from their side, it's good to keep that good rapport because
100%.
Because most artists talk. So let's say, for example, you want someone from Nigeria, they'll go to, Sandra was in Kenya last week. Let me call her and ask her who handled her, what happened. If she was treated nicely, she'll refer me or Anyiko
immediately
because she'll be like, hey, I had this person who's on ground. When you get there, leave even the promoter. This person will take
call
care
this
of
person to sort you out.
So most of the times, even when we're planning an event, the artist handler you've assigned to them, 9 times out of 10 they don't even use them. As if they have someone who was recommended to them, they'll end up using that person.
On the side. Yes. Even and it goes even to as intense as to content guys. You can be like, we've got our own photographers, blah blah blah. When you get on ground, you'll just probably see a random another photographer,
just come.
And they'll be like, no, this is our guy for Kenya.
That's why you see
even it was recommended from somewhere else.
That's why you see even now when artists come, they have dancers, and you're wondering how did they even get our TikTokers?
Dancers?
How did they even do this? It's because they've been recommended by someone.
Because I remember when which artist was it? When Rema was in Kenya, Ayoma was on stage.
Yes.
And I was like, wow. How
did this happen? Yes.
Ayoma is one of the biggest, or rather one of the most talented artists, dancers. So seeing her there, I was like, she is meant to be. And then now afterwards, Cranium came to Kenya and she was the one on stage. And then of course also she has other dancers. So I get that. So they speak.
They speak. So you gotta, if you don't do your job well,
even
it will trauma for you for future things.
Because I was very back at the Ukoju, so I was not close, so I couldn't see like
what's happening,
who's singing at the back. Just hear the background vocals. Only to see on social media it was one of vocalists. Wow. Wow. Because I was like, this is amazing. She came with her band and her vocalist from Nigeria. Only to find out it was all very
They do their own due diligence. Because even when Rema was here, he was rehearsing at Snowball. So they even know the places to go and rehearse. They even know the places where they want their things. Even the dancers that he had when he was at Walkertown, I saw a lot of people talking about the dancers that he had on stage aside from Ayoma. He actually went to Excess himself, and he's the one who handpicked the dancers.
Interesting.
Like it was the night before.
The day before he went to Excess that night, and he sat down and he was watching. And he's the one who actually handpicked, okay, this one.
This is the dancers I want, So
they actually, they're tapped into whatever is happening in the city. Yeah.
So as we conclude the conversation, let's just briefly talk about ticket pricing.
Okay.
And my question for you, especially Frankie, does a high ticket price event automatically mean that I'll have the best time of my life?
It should. It should. Because why am I charging you premium if I'm not giving you premium? There's people who'll charge you VIP 25,000 and you come and you find you're sitting, it's like you're in a chama. Yeah, it's like you're in a chama. So why? If I'm charging you premium, I should also be able to deliver premium. It wouldn't sit well with me knowing I've charged you a certain figure and I'm going home comfortably knowing I've made money, but you're there complaining the whole time.
But then just to add on to what you're saying, okay, shout out to Team Soulfest, because when they charge you that VVIP experience, it is a solid VVIP experience. Like, you've got your table, you're sitting comfortably, there's food, like, it is amazing.
Yeah.
So they got it. However, there's a lot of events that believe that VVIP charge is limited or restricted to bottles. So you'll see on the ticket, you're being charged 30K. And they're like, you'll get 2 premium drinks, 6 bottles of water, platter of food. I'm like, no, there's a lot of other things to charge me 30,000 bob that have to come into play other than drinks. Because either way, by the time I'm paying 30K for a ticket, I'd like to believe drinks is not my biggest problem.
There's people who probably
I can
don't
buy
even drink
my drinks. Do you understand? So you've charged me this amount, these drinks have come, but where I'm sitting, one, I don't know, it's not leveled. So I can't walk in the shoes I've come in because sasa tuna dance kila mahali because it's not leveled. Or CG the toilets now I have to go to backstage to the other side to the back to go and access it. Where I've parked my car and where I'm being told to sit, I've had to pass through the general area to get. You see, all those things you can't charge me X amount for because what you've charged me for, I might as well just have sat in a kawaida place. Because you've given me a kawaida experience. There's nothing new. The food has come in plastic to plates. Some guys just come and put random pieces of kuku on the table with warus. Like, what's going on? You know what I mean? So you're very right to say that if you know what you're doing, if you're gonna charge premium, it has to be a premium experience. But a lot of the time people think what a premium experience is with events is bottles. So if I've given you one Hennessy and one whatever and some water, you're okay. No. That's not a VIP experience at a premium fee at all.
And I think also some brands and this has also been going on for quite a while. When they think of VIP, they think of like corporates or group tickets for groups with higher purchasing power. But I think it's important to deconstruct what a VIP could give or could be. An individual like me can be a VIP.
100%.
Don't just have a VIP and assume like we'll have corporate people buying 10 tickets. Me, even if I call my gang, we're like 5 girls, we're not 10. So it's just like as we finish the conversation, it's important to break down all these things the VIP can give you. What is the experience? And I think part of the experience is also the accessibility. Like, how am I in the VIP? And you go kando. Siko mbele artist. Mimi nataka kuwa mbele artist kama Boys to Men, but that is a very controversial concept. To use as an example, you know, let me not go there.
Because even abroad,
but access, like, you also need to be like mbele kabisa. Kuna VIP unaekwa hivi kando. So
because for them, like, as long as you're in a nice tent, you're okay.
Just to add on to what Anyiko is saying, abroad, VIP ndio wako huko mbele.
Golden Circle. It's that one right at the front.
Regular wako huko. Let's say if it's a stadium, hao ndio huko juu kwa bleachers. That's regular. VIPs are the ones who have priority. VIP and VVIP are the ones who...
Those are the most expensive. In fact, they call them Golden Circle.
Golden Circle,
But here, regular are the ones who get priority. VIP na VVIP wamewekwa huko kando.
On the sides.
We're all squeezing on the side. I'm having a problem with that.
And then you're going under the speakers and things to be able to just be at the front to take footage. I'm like, why am I bending over like one of the photographers trying to squash in between speakers? Yet I paid for a VIP ticket. How does this even make sense? You know what I mean? Yeah.
So there's a time we ask our audience, what experience do they prefer? Katia VIP, VVIP, regular, and I think that's it. That's it. And a lot of people said
complimented.
Yes, because it's vibes.
Regular ndio bashi iko.
You guys,
no, it's true. even us as event organizers, regular is where it's at.
Is where it's at.
Okay.
I find myself sometimes just in regular watching.
Having the best time ever.
I'm not even with my friends.
Swear by VIP.
No, but you see, and that's
It's a status symbol.
Hey, Anyiko. Hey,
no. But I've left. I a lot of the times leave VIP to go to regular, and I think it also comes down. Even if you can see it in our entertainment industry in general, for me, that thing of VIP is very much a status.
Yeah, it's
thing.
a status symbol.
So people feel like, yeah. Because of
I'm
who I
going to
am on
regular,
Instagram or
why?
whatever, I can't buy a regular ticket. I have to get a VIP. If I had to show you some of the people even ask for tickets on my DMs, I'm sitting there and I'm like, but Baba, oh my dear, aren't you like a ball, like everywhere I see you, usually you're on some, I'm that guy. So how are you coming to me to Omba? So you just buy, here's a ticket, like what's happening? And it's just because they don't want to be seen in regular, because they feel like if I'm seen at regular, people are going to be like, how Jafika, your status is lower or whatever. And it happens even just in general entertainment. If you look at clubs right now in Nairobi, if you're not sitting in the VIP section, there's so much pressure to get into the VIP section. Yet, up or down, guys are having the time of their lives because they have no inhibitions. It's vibes. Somebody has come though, like me, I've paid my 3K, 2.5, whatever it is.
And they love the time
I am
of their
literally
life.
here to experience and have a good time. And that's why I also love, and I'm not trying to like toot the horn, but even with Strictly Soul, we don't have a VIP section or whatever. It's everyone for everyone. Like, you're coming to have a good time.
That's how events
even with
Soul
Fest, that's why they do 2 separate events. There's the VIP one, sawa nyi one,
Mashida.
the rest is general. Last time, all of us,
Well,
including the rest, we were all at the general, having the time of our lives. Because that's how it should be. Because we've forgotten, even for concerts, it's not a status thing. Don't want to go to a concert because because I was there. Unless you actually like the artist and you want to go for the experience, what are you doing there?
But I want to say there's nothing wrong with being in the VIP.
There's nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong.
Guys,
Anyiko is coming for the defense.
No. It's okay. I'm not. But see, Mama, you enjoy the arts and the music and the yes.
I think this whole VIP and tickets conversation is a big business.
It is.
If people can get the experience right for the VIP,
right.
I believe even more people want to pay to be in the
100%.
VIP.
I agree.
So you guys are now saying, when I went to regular, I was having so much fun there. Sometimes more than VIP. So then the question is, then why do we have the VIP, or why are we paying this amount for the VIP? So that's what needs to be figured out, because
what we need to
if
redo.
It can be such an experience, like pay VIP, come get a poster,
right?
So get a little tote bag. I don't know what.
Okay, so
100%.
I get where she's coming from.
100%.
Signing something.
Yeah.
I'm not given that experience here.
Yeah.
Like,
of course.
I was talking to you guys how I was trying to go to France to see
Asha,
a concert, but because I was too late, I couldn't afford to buy those VIP
tickets. Right,
it's very expensive.
Yeah,
but actually, when I saw like the things it's giving
you,
I'm like, Miss Yonangi tukipatiwa hizo hapa. They even said like before the concert, there's a cocktail where Asha will pass by to say hi.
To you guys, yeah.
That's what you're paying for. But the question is, when I'm paying 10K here, what am I paying for?
Yes.
Are we really telling our consumers, you're paying 10K because of 1, 2, 3? Usually when you come, it's just like seats, which you might not get if you come
late.
12. Then at some point, Maji Naisha,
Pombe Naisha.
Then the room's far. There's no security guy to take you now for VIP. So even though me nakunga VIP, I've been suffering.
But that's what I'm telling you, Mama. Like, paying that amount
should
come
to,
with certain perks that it motivates even the guys in general to want to aim to get, because then it's access to different things. But right now, all you're getting is your own separate tent and nice lounge chairs. Which, as you've rightly said, you come after a certain time, hakuna.
Yeah.
Do you get? So even you've paid your 10K, now you're standing.
Whoever's watching, please, let's have more water.
More water.
I hope Maji Ishangi was in you.
No.
Yeah.
That's our suppliers are the best. Our suppliers are the best.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So as we conclude the conversation, there's a lot happening. We began the conversation by saying December is party.
It's back to back.
Unalipia tu bafu. Kumbuka unalipia bafu peke yake. Ni kuoga ukitoka.
What is your takeaway for December? What should people look out for? What should people consider going to? Just as we conclude, I think we can start with
Yeah. For my takeaway, come to Mass House, number 1.
Yes.
A beautiful event space. Come have a good time. Number 2, my takeaway is Sean Paul and Burna Boy and Shinsia, the 3 of them. Yeah. Shinsia, because I've been in communication with her team for the longest time, and then now to finally see them coming and then we get to hang out will be really nice. Sean Paul for the culture, of course. Burna Boy because it's Burna Boy.
Also for the culture.
Yeah, also for the culture. Yeah. And then Mass House because it's Mass House.
Mimi, nataka mkuje muone artists wa Turkana.
I love it. I love it.
They're coming all the way from Turkana, and they're called Turkana Sessions, and they'll be playing alongside the Turkana Sessions Orchestra. So they'll be playing at Osho Center December 6th. Watakuwa wana play na Sanaipei Tande na Eddie Gray. And then also come to Mamito's comedy show December 20th at Jane Bavin Center Auditorium at Indonesia. And then 31st, if you're not in Nairobi and you're somewhere in the coast, I think attending Beneath the Baobabs Festival will be cool. They have Blinky Bill headlining, Emmanuel Jal, and so many other dope DJs and artists, Tina Adore, MGM, Hiribai. The list is endless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
BTB is always a vibe.
Huh?
Beneath is always a vibe.
It's always a
vibe.
Yeah, it's just not my kind of music. That's why I just...
I mean, that's apart from blankets, which other nini has been successful? It's the Amapiano and Unsin.
Yeah, but see, I just don't like that genre of music. Even Amapiano for me is a very hard.
Trust me, it's the most peaceful. It's the most peaceful place you will ever be.
According to you.
And I've gone for a lot of Gondwanas. It's the most peaceful event you'll be at.
I mean, I can believe that it's just that, I need some lyrics somewhere at some point.
But you vibes.
Do you understand? Yeah, because I'm very much
you need to be on level 5.
R&B kind of girl.
You need to be on level 5.
No, but you feel me? So that's because I cannot be what's tuning with what I know. For me, there's just as you've rightly said, obviously, Sean Paul, Burna, for the culture. You guys, you must be at Soulfest. First of all, the biggest one for me, and what I'm most excited about, there's a guy called Obi who has been doing something in Nigeria called Obi's House for a long time. And he has not been to the 254. He has a song out with BN called Take Me Away that is amazing, and he's coming, and they're doing a pre-party for Soulfest in conjunction with Obi's House. So if you want to actually experience the heartbeat of Lagos and what that feels like, you need to be there on the 23rd of November. Whatever it is you're doing.
Where will it be?
At Mass House. Sawa. Tunajua Mass House ni ile place sasa. Okay. We're no longer saying, what is the other place that we want to... Uhuru Gardens.
Yes.
To Mass House, sasa everybody. We're back to Ngong Road. And then just these 2 pages I want everyone to follow. Strictly Soul and After Party with Coolest. Because now those are, I mean, other than the R&B, and then now with DJ Seme's Aluta Morning Plan. We've got a couple of editions coming up before the end of the year. And I think anyone who's not understood what
After Party
Aluta ya Mababi looks like,
come and see.
You need to pull up. You need to pull up for After Party. Yes.
No. Come and see this one. It's a different one.
It's a whole different thing. Yeah. So for me, and
I'm
just
bashed
like
till 9 a.m.
Yeah. No, until midday. Until midday to 2.
Strong.
And then guys, just mind your safety.
Yes.
Biggest thing for December, just mind your safety.
Yeah.
And especially in light of everything that's going on in the country in terms of safety and security, just mind your safety.
In your pockets.
No, but that's also part of it. You know what I mean? Like, don't try and take a shortcut to get somewhere at 2 a.m. in the morning. Kama una kaa tu home. Yeah. Watch 2 mix kwa YouTube.
It's okay. There's always another time.
You know what I mean? Like, don't pressure yourself, because security right now and safety is such a big thing. And I just want everyone to just have that as the number one. Yeah. Let's not start January with bad stories all over the internet.
Yeah. I mean, Mass House.
Yes.
We have to talk about it.
Yes.
No. Ngongreska sinakwanga na mastori.
Mastori mingi.
Mastori mingi. What have you done so that Mass House can be?
Have you been there?
I have been there for Charisma.
No, that was
before it was done.
Have you been there now?
Yes.
I'll come through.
Okay.
It is officially a first world, in my opinion. It's our first world venue for events. Yes,
So it's
in
an
terms of
event
equipment,
space, yeah.
sound,
What's the capacity?
it's unbelievable.
Maximum 2-5. That's comfortable. You Mfinyani. Mko sawa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, guys, where can people find ya?
We'll start with you.
Sisi watu wa Facebook. Was it? No, Sando Chisaina on everything. Sando Chisaina on everything. I opted to use the Chisaina because people are letting the team down, trying to pronounce Bartonjo. So I chose life. I was like, you guys are not going to destroy my dad's name. Unprovoked. Yeah, but Sando Chisaina on all platforms. And then after party with Coolest.
You're actually Bartonjo on Twitter. On X, how do I know you?
That's my dad.
It's you.
No.
It is you.
Mama, I'm not on X, I'm promising you.
You are.
Somebody has opened an account Basi on my name. That is awkward.
Receipts being pulled.
When you're here, I'm like, Allah.
How about you, Frankie? Where can people find you?
Frankie The Brand on all platforms. Yeah. If you can't find me there, Google me.
Wish. It's the accolades. The accolades.
Who is this?
Hiya, Mama.
You
When was this even opened?
The publicist of publicity.
This is
for me,
creepy.
Find me on Anyiko Owoko and at Anyiko PR.
This is from Kitambo. Look
on
at this
all
photo.
platforms. I know you are there.
Kwanza it was retweeting Biki. Yeah, that's you.
It's
for
you.
sure.
No, it's not.
That's
I've
you.
never opened a Twitter account. I'm not even joking. Just send me that screenshot. Now that this is happening live.
Once again,
Just me past live.
thank you, ladies and gents.
Yeah.
Thank you
So much for having us, Mother.
And for opening up such conversations as well. It's vital.
Yes, very,
because
very crucial.
there's too much misinformation out there. And just, rogue promoters who are just about to let down an industry that we have worked so hard to build.
Yeah.
And we're literally the event hub for Africa other than SA.
True.
Like artists, literally, this is their goal. Like I know a lot of artists say, if you've not made it to Kenya this year for a show,
hujafika,
you know what I mean? And so we can't let rogue and ignorance allow an industry that we've worked so hard, a decade plus to build, to just be withered down with 1-2 mess ups. Yeah.
At least now they have a glimpse of what happens.
Also, we're available for consultancy, guys.
Yes.
Just reach out. If you
It's
our charge, just DM me. I'm more than happy to help. Because at the end of the day, it's a bigger picture. Yeah.
No, but I'm happy. Some of the young guys, the guy who did Cranium, Airbeat Casey. Shout out to Casey.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sichangi, Tukutane. There's a few young guys who actually are willing to learn and they're willing to listen. So they always come for advice and they always ask, hey, I want to do this, this, and this. How did you pull it off? Or how do I go about it? Which is good. They're willing to listen and they're willing to move forward. But there's others who think events is just a get rich quick scheme. And they're out. Those are the ones that ruin our name. Those are the ones that ruin the reputation we've been trying to build all these years. Yeah.
So once again, guys, this has been the Pulse Let's Talk Events edition, and we've had a successful conversation. So if you've just caught us just now, you can just go back to when we started once and just hear what Sandra had to say, what Frankie had to say, and of course what Anyiko Owoko had to say. But I look up to you.
Oh,
thank
I'm so happy when I see you doing you and all the young cool girls and boys as well.
And babas,
on whatever platform, especially on social media, I'm like, this is the dream I had.
For sure.
And now to see you all living your dream, I'm like, I'm so happy.
Yeah, no, but props to you. You're actually doing a good job. Yeah.
100%.
On behalf of Paul. Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another edition of the Pulse Let's Talk. Until another time. Ciao, ciao.
Bye.